Good afternoon. I thought it might be a good idea to take some time to address some of the critiques, some of the criticisms of the neo-Stoic ideal I discussed in my book, Meaning in a Hostile World. The one I will address today is that my approach, like that of any other naturalist philosophy, fails to account for our existence. Now, what do I mean by account for our existence? In other words, it doesn't address the issue of why are we here, as distinct from how we got here, a science question, or why the universe exists. Now, this is a common and unnatural criticism, one that we really should expect, and we can blame it, ironically, on one of the greatest philosophers of the Western world, Aristotle. Now, how so? Why do we blame Aristotle for that? He said that when looking at any artifact, there were four categories of causes that we could discuss in relation to this artifact. There's the material cause, the efficient cause, the formal cause, and the ultimate or final cause. He concluded this from looking at common artifacts and realizing that each of these could be described using these categories. Let's take a simple three-legged stool. All right? The material cause would be the wood, the wicker, the nails, the glue, whatever is used, the materials that are used to make it, of which it consists. The efficient cause is the labor, the cutting, the attaching, the fitting, the finishing, and so on. The formal cause would be the plan, the fact that it's going to have a round seat with a wicker instead of solid wood for cushioning, and three legs in order to be stable, and so on. The formal cause, the final cause, the ultimate cause, is why we made the stool in the first place. Why put it together? Why build it? Now, it could be maybe you built it yourself because you like to do these kinds of things and you made it to sit on. Maybe you're part of a business and you did it to sell so somebody else could use it. Regardless, that is the final cause why the stool was made. Now, this does work well with artifacts. They're made by people, and yes, some other primates as well have been found to make them for specific functions. Even the chimp, when he's making the little spear to get animals out of trees, or the little sticks to pull out termite mounds, and they do make these, they just don't find them. They have a purpose, there's a reason for it. Does that mean the chimp can express the reason? No, but the reason is there. Now, the problem with all this reasoning is that it doesn't really apply to natural objects. Take, say, an igneous rock, piece of basalt. Right? It has a material cause, the lava or magma from which it was formed. It has the efficient cause, the eruption that caused it to go into liquid form, and then it cools. Doesn't have a formal cause? And no. A final cause. Who says? The problem is it isn't an artifact at all. Artifact is a word that applies to deliberately made products. Artifact is a subset of objects. There are objects, some of which are artifacts, some of which are not. The problem was Aristotle created this way of thinking based on artifacts. And so we sometimes apply it where it shouldn't be applied. The burden of proof, of course, is on those who want to insist that an object is in fact an artifact. Now, why do we do that? Okay, our actions are usually purposeful. Maybe not always rational, but they're purposeful. And animals' actions are often, or at least seem to be, purposeful. I heard my little dog barking a second ago. When he stares at a rabbit or a squirrel or chipmunk crossing the yard, and he's watching it, and he's looking at it, and he's going to go after it. There's a purpose to that watching, and you can see it. You have to be blind not to see it. Well, primitive man tended to assume that everything was purposeful. Everything in nature. We say the plants grow because it rains. Primitive man held that it rains so that the plants will grow. You see the difference. That latter was the assumption that much of human history. So we sometimes apply this purposeful actions to nature. So there has to be a why of the universe, a why we are here. Not how, not the evolutionary pattern that caused us to develop from other hominids and turn from other mammals and so on. But there has to be a purposeful reason for it. Well, we don't assert that. The question's not legitimate. The universe is here, we know it's here, great. But there's no why to it. If you're a parent, I'm sure you've had a situation where you have the child asking why, and everything in a chain is why this. You answer it, well, why? Oh, why? Children expect that. Thing is, we're adults. So we have to be willing to say, look, I can teach you how to be happy. I can teach you how to lead a meaningful life. But if you're looking for absolute answers to every single conceivable question, they're simply just not there. Have a good day.